Goblins live show, the first ever one of 2023. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas break, and I hope you're happy to see us again.
Yeah.
We've got a very, very, very interesting show lined up for you today, where the UK's motorcycle kind of the way how we do licensing here in the UK might change, and maybe for the better. But yeah, are you ready, wifey?
I'm ready.
All right, let's jump right in. Let's roll the intro. Woo! 2023.
Yeah.
We made it.
We did.
Who thought that? Who thought we'd make it to 2023? Anyway, how are we doing, wifey?
Much better. Thank you.
Much better.
Yeah. We went very well, were we?
Well,
A few weeks ago.
Yeah, we managed to catch Voldemort, so to speak, over Christmas. So that was fun.
He must not be named. To be fair, we avoided it for almost 3 years, and it just struck us down. Yeah.
Well, wasn't a lot we could do, but yeah. So we didn't exactly get the break that we wanted to have, but I mean,
No.
is what it is. But apart from that, wifey, anything else that's been happening? Any exciting presents that you want to talk about? No. Why?
I didn't get any. I'm joking.
Shut up! She's such a liar.
Oh, my laptop. Yeah, I got a lovely new laptop to edit on and play games on.
To play video games on,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you changed my entire gaming setup, so that was nice. What about you? Any exciting DVDs you got?
Yeah. So wifey's quite proud of this one.
I'm so proud of this.
She bought me a Blu-ray of the so the Transformers had an animated movie that came out in the 80s, and I absolutely loved that movie when I was a kid, and I still love it to this day. And it's really difficult to find, but the wifey found a Blu-ray disc of the animated Transformers movie, we watched it.
Boxing Day.
We watched it on Boxing Day, and it was so good. Yeah,
I'm so proud of it. I can't stop going on about it.
Yeah, it does bring back a lot of nostalgia. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. Got we helped each other out with all of our gifts this year, didn't we? Because
They're
there's
expensive.
some quite big ticket items on the menu. I got a Valve Index, which is a VR headset. I did have a HTC Vive, but that's the original Vive, so it was due an upgrade. So yeah, really happy with that.
But
Been playing Half-Life Alyx, completed it already.
And we've
But
been playing.
It is only single player.
We've been playing mini golf together, haven't we?
Yeah, playing VR mini golf because now we've got 2 headsets, so yeah, it works out quite
Nothing
well.
like spending time together in different rooms.
Yeah, in a virtual world.
Yeah.
But I mean, drop in the chat, guys. Anything that you are really happy with that you got over Christmas, and
Or how your break was, what you got up to.
yeah, what you got up to, and what have you.
Did you manage to go out or anything?
Well, yeah, if you did you catch COVID?
Yeah. Let us know. We don't want to be by ourselves here. But
Yeah. But anyway, all right. So I mean, we'll just jump right into today's show. I
think one thing, and I know you don't know who he was, but I'm just going to mention obviously Ken Block died.
Oh yeah,
Yesterday or the day before, which was really sad.
Yeah.
My brother was a massive fan of him to the point his wedding cake, I don't know if you remember, he made Ken Block's car on there.
Yeah,
but
it had the rally car, didn't it?
yeah, but also he actually was a co-creator of DC Shoes.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
he had so much. So it is really sad that, you know, he's passed away, but I thought I'd mention it because it's all over like MCN and all that sort of stuff. So just thought I'd mention it, which is super sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. So,
Not a great start to 2023 in that respect. But
well, when did it happen? Was it this year or was it the end of...
No, it was this year.
It was this year.
It was either yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. I don't even know what day we're on.
That's cruel.
What
isn't
month though?
Yeah.
I'm so disorientated.
Yeah, we're still getting back into the swing of things. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit naff, isn't it, after the Christmas holidays, having to get back into being
Yeah, because this is
responsible adults.
this is the first time, and I think you can attest to this, I've ever slept in consecutively more than what 2 days in a row
Yeah.
past 10, and I was getting up like at 11:30, and I don't do that. So now getting up at like 8:15, which again sounds really late, but compared to what I was doing is really early, is absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. I'm dreading it because every night I'm up till 3:00 in the morning just
doing whatever
because I don't feel sleepy, and then
I'm having to have naps on my lunch break.
But I struggle getting up, and then when I do actually manage to get up at whatever time it is, the wifey gets me up, and then I just go downstairs, whack on the telly, and fall asleep watching the telly at the moment.
I'm there just like working and just like
I'm having to. Well, I'm off this week. I'm back to work next week, so I wasn't able to get the week off before Christmas, so work gave me this week off instead.
So,
there you go.
But yes, let's stop talking about Christmas because Christmas is over.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? But yeah, let's jump straight
into our article.
Topic. Yeah.
Do you want to share the article? So I found an article, and this is all speculative at this point in time, but basically, this article's talking about how. Getting a motorcycle test can be expensive and time-consuming.
Well,
so,
sorry, go on.
You give your opinion afterwards.
No. I wanted to add to that, but yeah, go on.
And the cost. It's saying the cost of getting your license can range from stay where you are, £800 to £1,200, and the Motorcycle Action Group, who we've spoken about quite a lot over the past few months, think this needs to change. Now. What were you going to say?
No. Well, I mean, I was going to say, didn't you mention earlier? Because I haven't read this article. The wifey's.
The 20%.
Yeah,
I'm coming on to that.
20. Oh, okay, all right.
So
I thought that was shocking when you told me about that.
The Roads Minister, Richard Holden, has confirmed that a review of the process could be coming soon. So after we've kind of talked a little bit about a few points of this, what we thought we'd be able to do is talk about what changes could come in to make it easier. Obviously, I'm hopefully going to benefit from that, but maybe what you would have.
I don't think so.
Well,
this isn't going to come into effect for a long time, and funnily enough, I think it's actually I don't know, maybe a bit tinfoil hat of me at the moment, but I reckon that it's going to be reflecting a lot about kind of like the future of motorcycle riding in terms of electric. And things like that. So I'm a bit dubious of the motivation here.
Okay, so let's go through the article and then we'll discuss the changes. Are you okay there? Okay. So apparently motorcycle riders tend to obtain a full license at a later age than those passing their car test. So that is especially true for me, not for you. There's actually an uplift of people passing their test above the age of 60. Being like more like a bucket list type thing, or my bucket list.
Really? 60 years old? Wow.
And some you see how frail some 60-year-olds are. You just think, but obviously look at my parents, they're not.
Yeah,
and that's all right.
Not all 60-year-olds are that frail.
No. There's also this bit that you found shocking is that only 20% of riders who have a CBT go on to take their full test. The rest just keep their CBT their whole life. Now, MAG have said that this is worrying. I'm just in the section.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because basically it's saying that they have a whole bunch of riders on the road which don't have the full training. They just have like enough to be roadworthy and enough to say, yes, okay, you're not a danger to yourself or what have you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that some of our viewers are on a CBT.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 125 guy, you're in the chat. Good to see you, mate. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Because you've obviously been on a CBT for a while now. I can't remember how long it has been, but why? Let us know why you've decided to stay on a CBT. You might have told us before, but just in case we've forgotten, because I can't remember.
It's been Christmas since.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But let us know why you've decided to stay on a CBT rather than getting your full license.
Now, in this article, they're not saying that the CBT is unsafe. But they're arguing that a CBT should be a vehicle to getting people on the road, and then when that 2-year expires, helping them on to do their next license.
Yep.
The MAG report then concludes, that the current motorcycle licensing system is stifling full license uptake. So the cost incurred and complexity of the system are either forcing riders to live out their career on a CBT or going to a car and then not coming back to bikes until they are later in life.
Yeah.
Now, the next...
Well, we'll move on to the next bit in a moment. We'll just talk about what we've...
That doesn't actually give anything.
No, I know.
There.
I know. But I mean, let's just discuss that first bit. So, if that is true, that only 20% of people on CBT go on to do a full motorcycle license, I think that's shocking. I would have thought the number would be closer to 50%. And because otherwise, what's the motivation behind getting a CBT if you didn't want to ride motorcycles? Or what is the demotivation behind not doing it? So there must be certain factors. I know, he's just being a pain. There must be certain factors that are stopping people nowadays from taking their motorcycle license. I mean, I don't know. I thought that it was one of those things that you did do when you were 17, 18, as soon as you could do it. You know, just going and getting your motorcycle license. Just because, why not? You're young, you've got no worries, you don't have to necessarily... There's not a lot of consequence behind doing it, if you know what I mean. But, wow, I mean, yeah, again, 60 years old, or 60-year-olds, plus 60-year-olds getting into getting a motorcycle license.
In some cases, they're OAPs.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a retirement thing, isn't it? That they want another hobby to participate in, so they go ahead and get their motorcycle license.
Or like it says, it's the bucket list effect.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then of course, you've got people like Richard Hammond, who's everyone knows he's an avid motorcyclist, and he makes these arguments like, if you don't do it before you're 25, then you're not going to do it at all. And I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, because everyone has the same opportunity to do it. It's their choice. They choose not to. And that's what we are trying to change. We're trying to change that. So if you are watching this show right now and you have an interest in motorcycles and you haven't gone ahead and actually got a CBT or haven't gone ahead and done your full license, why not? Go ahead and do it. You have nothing to lose. And as far as I'm concerned, it's quite a valuable skill to have anyway. I don't know. It just is. It's like, people underrate getting a driving license. So many people, like, they live around the big cities like London and they think, oh, there's no point getting a driving license, so I'm not going to be able to drive a car anywhere, because London is London and everyone's supposed to get around with taxis and the underground and buses and that. But I think that's such a naive, narrow way of thinking. It is still important, and I think this is also on that same level of importance, getting a motorcycle license, just to have the skills, even if you don't use them. But obviously then going on to actually enjoying the hobby, participating in what we do is obviously what we want. But yeah, just, I don't know. I do agree with the fact that it is difficult and it's confusing, and the thing is, when you look at it, so you get your CBT and you're like, wow, that was so easy. Getting a CBT is so easy. You just show up and you do 4 or 5 hours of riding around on a scooter or on a motorcycle, and you've got a CBT. And then the next year, you look at what you need to do to get your A2 or A license, depending on how old you are. And then you look at and you think, wow, that's a mountain I've got to climb. It's awful. It's awful. I mean, it's not. To be honest, it's not difficult. It's just, you do have to put some time in. You do have to put in some practice. But that's the thing. Once you have a CBT, you can buy yourself a motorcycle, a 125, and you can learn to ride on that 125 in your own time. You can take as much time as you like. And basically, when it comes to actually coming to do your full license, you should know most of it already, at least in terms of the skills of riding, clutch control and turning, things like that. You should be able to practice that yourself. And then the instructors should just be there to kind of instruct you on the process of how to get your license and the specific things that will be testing you on and all that stuff. But Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's not hard, but I think it is. What's the word? Discouraging. Do you think discourages people a little
Yeah,
bit?
absolutely.
Well, you haven't got your full license yet. Why haven't you got your full license yet?
I don't know. Partly, I think it's a bit daunting
But why?
because
You've got me.
I don't mean this in an unkind way,
Oh no, here we go.
but I don't know if that's a good thing
Yeah, of course
or
it
a bad
is.
thing.
Of course it is.
Because
Because I'll make you do everything. I'll make you do all the hardest stuff.
yeah,
The stuff they won't get you to do, I'll get you to do. So you'll be an even better rider, a more competent rider than probably most people getting their full license.
to be fair, the stuff that we did to get ready for my CBT did help a lot. I can't deny that.
Of course.
And it made a good video as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fact that it even having you there and everything, it's still 2 full days, isn't it? It's 2 different sections I've got to do, and that for me that's just daunting. It's just 2 years ago, no, last year, sorry, they were talking about you not having to ride a bike, such a big bike, to do your full license. I don't think that ever came into effect.
I don't know.
That I
don't.
I found off the back of this.
But you see, I don't think that's an issue either.
No, I'm not saying
Doing
it
your
is,
full
but-
license on a 500cc isn't a big deal.
No, I think that they were going to lower it down to a 396, basically 400, but I don't think.
Well,
that's happening.
I think that makes sense if you're going on A2 because that's the kind of bikes you're going to be riding on A2. But for your full license, well, when I was doing my full license, people learn they did their training on a 500. It might have been I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm sure they said 500. But that was over 10 years ago, so I can't even remember what bike it was that they were using. But
Do you know what you passed your test on or not?
what I passed my test on, it was a CBF 125, a Honda.
What, your full test?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because of my age, I was 17.
Oh,
I had to go on
course.
A2, so I wasn't. Well, back then you didn't have to do an extra test to get onto your full A license. You could, after 2 years of riding a 125, 5 years riding at A2 level, you'd automatically move up to a full A license. You don't have to do any more tests. You don't have to do anything else. You just go straight for it. At least that was back then. I don't know when it changed, because now you have got to do 2 licenses, haven't you? If you are under 21, is it now? I can't.
Yeah.
See again. If it's doing the license isn't hard, but just the bureaucracy behind it is difficult to understand, even for me.
I think, yeah, there is an age thing.
But like you, for example, you can go straight onto an A license.
Yeah.
Because of your age, it's easier if you're a little bit older. But that's not what you want, though. I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing a few comments in the chat here about getting your full motorcycle license when you're older because it's better, because you're more mature and all that stuff. But actually, I don't know if I agree with that, because this is when you're going to get the most enjoyment out of a motorcycle, is when you're younger. When you've got responsibilities, when you've got things like, you can't take your bike everywhere because it's not just you have to think about anymore. You've got, I don't know, a family or something. And then all of a sudden, riding your bike becomes something you end up doing on the weekends rather than something that you used to do every single day. And so I think having that time when you're younger to be able to enjoy the hobby as much as possible, I think is really beneficial. Although I do understand, revving the hell out of bikes and things like that is just something that young guys do. I did the same thing. I don't think I'm any different, but I don't know. The thing is though, when I did get up to that bigger bike myself, it wasn't a case of, I'll just do the same thing on that I did on my 125. It wasn't like that at all. I completely changed my attitude towards it. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit scared of riding it, but that's how it should be, Well, I suppose it's a little bit later on after that, isn't it? When you've got over that fear and you're gaining in confidence is probably when you're most at risk. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing getting a motorcycle license early, as soon as possible. Sorry.
Third time. There's a scale that I was shown once, and you can apply it to that situation, but you can also apply it to this, I guess. Whereas the moment you're most confident is the moment that you're most reckless at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We've had that graph on here before. Yeah. Peak of Mount Stupid. So it's like where your confidence level is really high because you think you're super skilled, and then
the fall is very steep.
but then something happens that completely damages your confidence, and then you realize how bad you are at said activity, and then over time, as you get more experience, you get more confident, and your skill level actually goes up, rather than having all that confidence and having no skill. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I'm saying all this stuff just from my perspective because that's what I did. I was a younger guy when I got my my first ever big motorcycle. I was 19, either 19 or 20. I might have been 20 at the time, but it was basically just after that 2-year period on A2 that I got it. So I was still a young man, but I wasn't crazy in the sense that I didn't buy a big motorcycle that was, I don't know, like too much of a jump, if you know what I mean. I wanted to look at something that was midweight.
These guys don't know how old we are, so you're still a young man.
They
don't know how old you are.
I am still a young man, but in my head maybe.
don't let them think that we're older than we are.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, unless they changed A2, if they changed A2 to be a bit more fulfilling, because getting a CBR 500R at A2 might sound quite fun, but it's limited. These bikes are limited. So, you look at a CBR 500R in Europe and you look at the same bike in America or in almost any other market outside of Europe, and it produces more peak power. It has more torque, I believe, as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's kind of no point in having that. So I think if they increased it to a parallel twin up to, I don't know, maybe 600, 650, something like that. Because there's quite a few really good parallel twin motorcycles between 600 and 700 cc. If they increased A2 up to that, then I think that would be quite useful. Because it's a really good step up where you get the opportunity to experience a big bike, but at the same time, it's not crazy. It's not like buying a 600 as your first big bike. It's not like that, or a 1 litre. Well, 1 litres are just they're in a league of their own when it comes to this kind of thing, when it comes to learner bikes. But you can make that same argument about 600s as well, that they're just too much for someone who has just done their A2, for example. I don't want to red tape it. I don't want to be that person. It's so difficult to judge because it really depends on who's sitting on the bike. If it's someone that is half sensible, then they'll be all right on something like a 600 after they get on their A2. But then you get some people that obviously aren't like that. They want to hit that red line all the time, and they're doing, I don't know, 140, 150 mile an hour everywhere because they can. Well, that's not the right kind of person, is it? So I think the balance, the parallel twin, I think is a really good balance, because you can still get up to 120 odd mile an hour. You're still going to get a really nice amount of torque. You're still going to be able to get off the line, do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds or whatever. So it's not really I don't know, 5-6 seconds maybe, but it's a bigger jump, a more meaningful jump, I think. And it's a career motorcycle. Like, you could stay on that bike for a longer period of time rather than being on something like a Duke 390 for however long. Sorry, do you want to say something? Sorry.
I'll wait till you're finished.
No, it's all right. I'm finished.
Okay. Shall we have a look at the chat and say hi to everyone?
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah.
Talk about what.
Yeah, what we think we could change. Yeah, what should be changed.
There's a little bit on here about how they want to start this change as well, which we can run through.
Oh, okay.
It's not much. It's like 3 words. It's not very much at all.
Yeah, Dostal Gaming, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Hope you had a good Christmas. Paul Keating, good to see you, mate. Mad old biker, I love that. Call on, hey, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah, 125 guy, Mad Dog, good to see you, mate. Ryan Malone, good to see you, mate. Fidelity, how you doing? Oh, we got some new faces here. Snake Man, good to see you. How are you all doing? I hope you all had a great New Year and Christmas break, guys. Yeah, so sad that it's all over, but yeah, I'm glad you joining us here today.
Guys, in 39 days, the sun's going to set at 7 p.m.
Shut up. Seriously?
39 days. That's all we've got to wait for.
No way.
39 days.
So actually get a long enough time a day to ride for a change after work.
Yes. So that's what, March time? No.
Yeah.
March
It's about
time.
it's about March. Yeah, well I think is it the end of March / early April is the spring.
Yeah.
So
not long until you're able to ride later.
can't wait. I can't wait till the days get longer.
So
Can't
just
wait.
thought I'd share that little bit of.
Oh, that's some good news. Yeah.
Some good news.
Good news. Yeah, 39
When you look
days.
outside and
That's
it's wet and dark.
Not even a month and a half away, and we're actually going to be able to start enjoying riding during the day. In 6 weeks.
I need you to have the dog back. My foot's gone dead.
Oh, come here, bud. Oh, you poor little thing. He was getting so comfortable.
My legs.
He was up here whining. He was like, "I want mummy." Sorry, bubbly. All right. Let's have a look at what you guys were saying in the chat then. Let's see. 125 guy had a bad cold on Boxing Day, wiped me out for a few days. It sucks, doesn't it? Being ill over Christmas absolutely sucks. It's happened to us a couple of times now, and
there was one year where
so annoying.
You had tonsillitis, I had a chest infection, so we couldn't even talk to each other.
No.
And
on Christmas Day we were just asleep all
Christmas
day.
Day we literally went round to his parents to be looked after, basically.
Yeah.
Weren't we? And you were asleep on one sofa, I was asleep on the other sofa. I managed to get dressed for dinner, you didn't. You stayed in your pajamas. It was bad. And then this year, having COVID, that Saturday, and walking just from one room to the other was like trying to climb Everest without acclimatising. It was awful.
Well, it was that one day. It was that one day that really wiped us out, and we couldn't do anything.
Just like lifting the remote was tiring.
Yeah.
That's all we did, was like melted into the furniture, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're able to enjoy a little bit of social time with our friends before Christmas, so that was nice. But that's probably when we caught COVID.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So.
Swings and roundabouts. Paul Keating. I've been riding big bikes exactly a year this week, going from a Triumph Trophy 1200 to a ZZR 1400. Good choice.
Very nice.
Good choice. We like that.
Have you got your new bike, or are you getting your new bike? Are you going, or have you gone?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let us know. Let us know when you actually end up picking that bike up, mate.
What do you think when you ride it?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you done a test ride? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm nosy, really.
Paul Keating. I paid about 1k to do my direct access last year. I didn't find it that difficult. No, it's not difficult. Actually, doing the test isn't difficult. I think for me, it's the bureaucratic thing that's difficult to understand. When are you on A2? When are you no longer on A2? How many tests do you have to do to go from a CBT all the way up to a full A license? Again, it depends on your age. If you are an older person, then it makes it a hell of a lot easier to understand, because you go from a CBT to an A license. Bob's your uncle. That's it. It's easy. But for a younger person, I don't know. If you're under 21 or under 25, it's really complicated. I can't remember the ages. I think I looked at it recently though, and it was still confusing. Even looking at the rules, and I don't know, man. Who knows? Dope Star Gaming. It's less money for our government. Forget about it.
Oh my good God.
You see?
Right.
See? It's ridiculous.
How old are you? What size license do you hold?
So shall we try putting it up on the screen for everyone?
No, because
because it is confusing, right?
that is ridiculous.
It is stupid, but Paul Keating, looking at some of the falls out there, it shouldn't be too easy. Yeah, you can't really argue with that, can you?
Oh, right. Okay. So if you are 16 or over, you can do a CBT with L plates.
Mm-hmm.
If you are 17 or over, it's the A1 light motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. That's 125.
Yes.
125cc.
If you're 19 or over, it's the A2.
Wow.
Which
So you have to
is-
stay on 125 for 2 years.
which is exceeding 35 kilowatts. If you're 21 to 23, it's the category A motorcycle,
Okay, so that is
which you
full
can ride a
license
motorcycle
then.
of any size.
Okay, all right.
And then if you're 24 or over, you can ride
So-
any motorcycle of
So
any
if
size.
you're over 21, basically, you can go straight onto a full A license.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was such a convoluted way of doing it. There's like graphs.
Who knows?
And
Honestly.
it's one of those flow charts. You have to like follow it. That's
I understand why they've done it the way they have, because they don't want people getting on motorcycles being stupid before they're ready to get on one of these bikes, but I don't know. There isn't really, it's doing the opposite of encouraging people to get their license, isn't it? That's what we need to try and change with it. So I don't know. Call on. Indeed, it shouldn't be too hard either. $1,000 or pounds or euros. I'm glad I got my license where and when I did. Yeah, that's what I mean. And when you go to somewhere like the United States, it's so much easier getting a motorcycle license than it is here. There's hardly any bureaucracy in it, as far as I'm aware. Is it just an MSF course and that's all you do, and then you can ride any size bike? Maybe it depends on the state. I don't know. Call on. Maybe you can update us on that. But yeah, it shouldn't be difficult, because riding a motorcycle isn't difficult. That's the thing. The licensing is difficult. It's not riding a motorcycle. So I don't quite understand why it's so convoluted, because it doesn't need to be like that. You know, the important bit is knowing how to ride a motorcycle, knowing how to ride it safely, knowing your limits, and then you should be all right. Literally, that's it. That's all it should be. And they're making it out to be such a stupid thing. Oh, I don't know. Dopestyle Gaming. If they do make it easier to get a license, I bet it would be in relation to getting an electric motorcycle. I can't envision the government just thinking, let's change a thing without compromise. That's exactly what I said earlier, isn't it? Exactly what I said. I wonder if the motivation isn't for actually getting more people riding motorcycles. It's just because electric bikes are coming in the next few years really quickly, and, you know.
they'll tie in with that, won't they?
Yeah, because it's not going to be like riding an electric motorcycle is... It's going to be similar, but it's not going to be exactly the same as riding a geared mechanical motorcycle. It's going to be totally different. It's going to be like riding a big scooter, effectively, which isn't a bad thing, but it doesn't take anywhere near as much skill to ride something like that than it does, well, something with a clutch, something with gears. I suppose even things like the throttle control, a lot of it's going to be managed by the computers as well. So they're taking that away from us
Are they
as
going to
well.
be automatic then?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, automatic. There's going to be no gears.
Oh.
There's going to be no gears. I mean, well, if there's going to be any gears, it's going to be one gear. One gear. That's it.
From neutral to one, or neutral?
No. It will engage and disengage automatically.
Do you think I'm not got this?
Because electric motors don't need gears. They don't need a clutch. They can go and stop at will. I mean, going back to kind of like when we were talking about the Kawasaki's that they teased, was it a couple months ago now? They've done it in a weird way. I was expecting them to actually have the electric motor on the rear wheel, not to have an electric motor where the engine would normally be, and then have a gear or sprocket, and then have a chain to a rear sprocket. That's quite inefficient for me. There's no point. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe that kind of tech hasn't caught up yet to motorcycles. Maybe they haven't made the motor small enough yet. But I mean, if you look at other electric cars out there, other electric vehicles, the motors are on the wheels, so the motors are directly driving the wheels. So I don't quite understand why they did it like that, but who knows? Oh, 125 guy. I just never got around to doing my full license. Something always came up. I've been riding on CBTs for around 17 years. Okay. Well, that's all right then. At least there's no specific, kind of thing that was stopping you from doing it. But yeah. Yeah, Paul Keating. I couldn't have handled being restricted to a 125. Nah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all, man. I mean, okay. I can appreciate a 125cc right now because I have the option open to me. The wifey's got a 125. I ride that every once in a while. But when you're someone who can only ride 125s, that's when it becomes a problem. I don't know. Unless they increase CBT to, I don't know, 300 or 250, but I don't know. That's probably too much, to be honest.
Do you think they could do it as like an age thing? So
They
if you're
could.
over
They could.
like 21 and you're doing
Honestly,
CBT.
I definitely think they could do that. Where if you're over a certain age and you have a CBT, then you could ride up to say a 300 on an L plate.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's unreasonable.
Well, it's like what I told you about in Guernsey.
Yeah. Don't mention it, because I've actually said that in a video that I recorded the other day.
TVC.
Yeah. No, but I said the Isle of Wight though, not Guernsey. In the video, I just remembered off. Well, we can say, you can say, go on.
So I went to Guernsey. I'm going to tell the whole story. I went to Guernsey a few months ago for work, and I was walking through this car park, and my colleague rides, and we were both walking, talking about bikes, and we saw this lovely looking bike, and it was an R1, and I looked, and it had an L plate on. I was like, no, that must be a 125.
Must be an R125. That's when the wifey told me about that. That's what I immediately thought it must be an R125.
I wish I'd taken a picture.
Yeah.
And I said to my colleague, I said, that what? Like what?
Yeah.
And he's from Luxembourg and Amsterdam anyway, so like even he was a bit baffled. Went in, spoke to my boss, and in Guernsey, you are allowed to ride a bike of any size when you've done your CBT, as long as you've got an L plate on. So I was seeing R1s. I was seeing
So you could ride around on a Hayabusa.
I saw
with an L plate.
I saw
That sounds ridiculous.
A 600 600.
GXO 600.
I saw
yeah.
that on an L plate.
Yeah.
And me and my colleague were just like, "What is going on?" But caveat to that: the fastest road speed in Guernsey is 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. So you can't exactly open the taps all that
and
much.
The roads are ridiculously narrow, so you can't even filter.
It is still
Guernsey.
funny though that you can do a CBT in Guernsey and all of a sudden you can ride any size motorcycle you like as long as it has an L plate.
Yeah. And I really wish I'd taken a picture
funny.
because because when you said it'd be a 125, I said no, I knew that's what you'd say, and I thought that, and it's a fully fledged R1 with an L plate.
Oh, Mad Dog, you make a really good point. They say, I reckon it's just these delivery riders sticking to the CBT. Of course, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, if you're working for Deliveroo or Just Eat or something like that, and you're doing the delivery work,
you don't need anything bigger, do you?
No, you just need a CBT.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many of these people are doing their CBTs literally just for the job. And not even consistently. Like, they probably do their CBT just to get the job. You know, maybe they're a university student or something like that, and they're just getting the CBT, getting the job, and then after they leave university, or maybe they move on to another job, they don't need their CBT anymore. They don't need to ride anything anymore anyway.
You do see a lot of Uber Eats scooters, don't you?
That's what I mean. Yeah, Uber Eats. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
What were you thinking? What did you say?
Oh, I said Just Eat.
No, they do.
They do delivery as well.
I believe so.
Well, there you go.
We don't do it from them, but.
But yeah, that is a really good point. I wonder if that's skewing the 20% conversion rate from CBT because it'd be interesting to see how many of these riders are actually legitimate hobby riders and people that are just doing it for a job.
Yeah.
Because imagine if that number is 50%. Like that, and I don't think that would be unreasonable to say that 50% of people that do their CBT are delivery drivers or delivery riders.
I don't think that'd be unreasonable.
I don't think that's unreasonable. But then it makes that conversion rate more sensible.
Like you say, it does skew the figures somewhat.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Never thought of that. That's a really good point. Yeah. Ryan Malone, thank God I didn't do it at 25s. I'd probably be dead. Did it at 30. Glad that I did. Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
I think it's each their own, isn't it?
I don't know. It depends on your state of mind, doesn't it? And I think in some of these cases, I think a little bit of luck has got to be involved because you've got to make a mistake in order to realise that, damn, I shouldn't have done that. You know, that was a really bad idea. Why the hell did I do that? And as long as you come away from it almost scot-free, but having that fear of God like
I'm not going to do that again.
Thrown at you. Yeah, I'm not going to do that again. Then it kind of it changes your perspective and it changes the way how you ride after that point, I think. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this in the chat. But this happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of riders where they've had that moment of being in the jaws of death, and getting away with it. But hey, that's part of riding. That's part of the hobby. Being that close to the road and pushing the boat out a little bit on your bike. That's what a lot of people do. Yeah. That's where their enjoyment comes from riding. Is that aspect of it. So I don't, it's inevitable, but at the same time, it's something that people, I think, a few people at least, actively seek to try and find that, like, as close to the edge as they can get, kind of thing. But who knows? Let me know what you guys think. Maybe most riders aren't daredevils, but I'm not one of those people. Call on. That's the problem. 25 is still reckless young rider territory. Too much cracking down on motorcyclists, including becoming one. Is that true? 25 is still the reckless young rider territory? If you're under 25, then yes.
It could depend on your social circle.
It could, I suppose. Yeah, if you're riding with a load of buddies that are reckless and they're all that age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Because well, I'll give you an example. So, when the wifey and I were a bit younger, we used to go on holiday. Not regularly, but I mean, we haven't been on holiday for about 5 years now. But we went to Tenerife for a week or a couple of weeks. We wanted to hire a car, and we were what were we, 22 at the time?
Where did we go?
Something like that. It was Tenerife, wasn't it? We were 22, 23 at the time, and we wanted to hire a car, but the car hire companies would levy this. Almost like a tax on you for being a younger driver. And so we were really annoyed because we were like, well, was it Tenerife or was it
Orlando?
Was it Orlando? Was it the US?
It was 25. You had to be.
Because we did have a car at Tenerife, didn't we?
We had a car in Tenerife. We had that Citroen.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we had the Polo the second time. But it was when we went to America. It was $35 a day extra because of our
age. But I'm pretty sure we had that same thing the first time we went to Tenerife as well.
Might have done.
That we had this extra levy that we had to pay for a car. And it was because we were under 25. But then all of a sudden, as soon as you're over 25, then, well, you don't have to pay this levy anymore.
Apparently you're... but what if I'd literally passed my test that year? I'm going to have less experience than I would have been if I'd been driving from 25.
That's what I don't understand. If you pass your test when you're 17 and you're 21, you've got more experience than someone who passes their test at 21 going to 25. So I think experience counts for a lot. You know, for me, the earlier that you can get into doing something, whether if that's life skills, engineering, whatever, the better, because you'll have more experience over other people that will do it later in life. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe. Let me know what you guys think.
Dope Style says you might have just given our age away.
What's that?
Dope Style says you might have just given our age away.
I don't care.
I care. I'm young forever.
Call on. Could be people are too broke from getting the 125 limited license. They got nothing left to step it up. Yeah, that is one thing.
I guess if they're doing their CBT and then to be able to work, and then they're using their wages to fund their bike, it's a circle.
It's
a cycle,
that's the thing.
Isn't it?
Imagine you save up for a year to buy yourself that 125. But then, of course, to buy something that's half decent, that's anything bigger than that, well, you'd have to save up for longer, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And to then do the test at the same time, especially if you are, like a lot of people in the comments have said, you are using it as a commuting device. Yeah.
And I suppose that's when it kind of makes more sense when you're a little bit older, because you have that disposable income. Whereas when you're younger, you don't have that. So
I mean,
yeah,
okay,
that
we've
makes
got
sense.
more responsibilities now, but between the both of us,
Yeah.
we're able to.
Well, I mean, I could never have afforded even just one of the bikes that we've got back when I was 18, 19.
No.
Couldn't afford even one of them. So, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, my laptop just skipped a bit. It went all the way down to the bottom of the chat. Here we go. 125 guy. When I did my last CBT, my instructor told me that if I rode like I did on the CBT on my module 2, I would have passed my full license.
That's good.
It's experience. Again, that experience counts for an awful lot. You don't need an instructor to tell you how to ride. You just need to ride. You need to do it yourself, do it at your own time, practice yourself, and you'll get there. You know? I mean, riding for 17 years, that counts for an awful lot.
Mm.
You probably ride better than a lot of people that have a full license, to be honest.
Especially if you drive as well.
Yeah.
You've got double the road awareness.
Yeah. Okay. Dope Style Gaming. To be honest, I feel like it's a bit too easy getting a CBT, in my opinion. To renew a CBT, that the 1 day completion is fine, but for someone with no road experience to potentially gain access so quick, I don't know. I'm doing a video about this.
Sure how much I agree with that statement.
I'm doing a video about this, okay? Because the fact that you can just show up, do 1 day of training, and then be good enough to then go out and ride, I don't think is right either. Do you know what? This is what I actually think. You should be allowed to buy a motorcycle before you have your CBT. You should be allowed to ride your motorcycle before you've even done a CBT. Because then it gives you that time, your own time to practice. You know what I mean? When I got my 125, I did my CBT on my scooter. I had to learn how to ride that bike all by myself. I didn't have anyone to teach me. I didn't have anyone to show me anything. I had to learn how to do it myself. And so, but then when it came to actually doing the full license and what have you, I knew how to ride. That wasn't the issue. Doing the specific, thingies I need to practice on, but knowing how to ride is one of those things that you do over time. It's not something that just happens in a day. Do you think?
Yeah.
Then what do you disagree then with?
Well, if you're going to do a video, maybe I'll talk to you about it. You can put my views in the video instead.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'll be doing a video about that in the near future. So yeah,
The
literally,
only
it's something that I thought about recently. Yeah.
I guess I could tell you what I think.
Go on.
Yes, I agree to an extent that you're basically saying to someone, here's 2 wheels, you've passed the 6 hours, off you go. But I have also been in CBTs before. I've done it twice. My first CBT where someone was sent home because they were just not deemed safe. They didn't know things like the road symbols. They didn't know what national speed limit sign was. They didn't know what certain things were. So they were sent home.
That's different. Not knowing the highway code is different right?
But we hadn't even been out yet, and he was sent home.
Yeah, but that preparation you can do without a motorcycle.
Yeah, but
that really isn't actually important.
What I'm saying is that these people are trained that if you're in this little car park and you're not able to show any form of balance or actually be able to do what you need to do, then they won't let you on the road.
Remember, that is their job. They're there to train you. It's compulsory basic training. They're supposed to train you up. They can't expect everyone to show up and know how to balance a bike. They can't expect everyone to know the highway code. That's their job.
But what?
Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys, but that's their
They're
job.
not there to teach the highway code.
They are.
No.
Yes, they are. Of course they are. They're there to make sure you know the highway code before you go out and ride. That means that they are supposed to teach you it.
No.
There's preparation that you can do yourself, but they are trainers. They're meant to train you. That's their job.
Neither of the CBTs I've been at, they've been like, we're going to teach you the highway code.
That's what they should do.
They don't.
Literally, that's what they should do. I bet you, if you go onto the government website, you have a look right now at what they say a CBT instructor should be doing, is they should teach you elements of the highway code. competency in highway code. That's what they should teach. That's what they should be teaching people, but they don't, because it just saves them some money, saves them some time. It's something else they don't have to do. I promise. That's what they should be doing. Well, if you're going to do your full license or your A2 license, then at that point you're expected to know the highway code stuff, because you would have had to have done your theory test. You would have had to have studied the highway code. So at that point, they should expect you to know the highway code stuff before you even go in to do the training. But for a CBT, you can't expect anyone to know anything. That's I don't know. It's like, we get new students at the martial arts gym. I'll ask them about their background history, but I will actually their martial arts history if they've done any of it before. But I won't just automatically assume that they'll know things. You have to teach them everything, because that's how it should be.
On the government website about them teaching you the highway code.
I don't know. But they are trainers. That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to train you. Aren't they? If you look at that word in the dictionary, that's what it means. The trainer is to train you, to teach you. So if highway code doesn't mean that, then, well, or isn't included in that, well, then it needs a rethink, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, we need to get onto the expert as well.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, getting a bit distracted here. Just say hello to some other people that have joined us. The Martian Defender, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Who else? Lomorph UK, yeah, you made it. Good to see you, mate. How you doing? Hope you're doing all right. Who else? Oh, that's everyone. Okay.
Right, let's get back.
All right. So, I mean, yeah, we'll just spend a few minutes now just talking about the things that we think could make getting a motorcycle license better, easier.
Before we do that.
Oh, really?
There's a bit in the article I just want to run through.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Holden, the chairman of whatever.
This bit here, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically there's a new formed group that's going to take up the task, and the first thing they want to do is understand the amount of riders who are relying just on the CBT. So that could take into consideration all those delivery drivers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. However, the article argues it's not enough, or it might not be enough. It goes on to say, it's sensible to assume that somebody riding for 2 years on a CBT and provisional has more road experience compared to a fresh new rider who's never swung a leg over a bike. Surely CBT experience could be considered a bit like A2 license upgrades.
Okay, so that's...
if you're like, I don't know, you've had your CBT, you've taken it 4 times, you've got 8 years of experience, they can go, okay, you've got 8 years, therefore you're going to have this slightly amended test. Because you don't need to do that. You've proven you can do that bit. And you'll do this. They
kind of do that anyway off the cuff, though. The CBT instructors, because they know that you...
this is full license we're talking about now. Aren't we? We're back to the full license.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, well, this article...
I thought this whole section was talking about just CBT.
No, it's saying that in order to discuss how they can make the motorcycle test easier, they should take into consideration your CBT experience.
I don't know. I because it's standardized between both scooters and motorcycles. You can't really say that, because then if someone's been riding a scooter for 2 years and then they consider that to be roadworthy experience on an A2, well, it's not the same, is it? It's not the same context.
I'm sure there'll be like
stipulations. And things.
You have to have ridden a 125 for your CBT, not a 50cc scooter.
I don't know.
Moped, whatever it is.
I think a lot of it is. See, I don't think it's that simple. I think it should be almost completely redone, completely reworked. Okay, start from scratch.
What would you have changed then? Put the question
I
to you.
agree with... Well, I mean, we've kind of been talking about it as we go, haven't we? But
give me bullet points.
Well, I kind of agree with the concept of restricting riders to a certain level until they're of age or experience, something like that. I kind of agree with that. But the problem with the way how it is right now is that it's too restrictive. So you can quite easily see that someone, when they're doing their CBT, look at what they need to do to get their full license, and then like, cost too much, it's too complicated, don't get it. It takes too much time, even though it doesn't take time. The direct access is 2 weeks, is it? It's 2 weekends, and that's maybe I can't remember how many days it is now, the direct access courses, but it's not a lot. I think it's 2 weekends of training, and then you go on to do your full license after that. But it's just trying to make it more accessible, or something that makes it more worthwhile for people. Because remember that a lot of people, their interest lies within the first few years of the hobby. If you don't capture them within those first few years, then they're probably going to give it up. And I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are at that point. It doesn't matter. But imagine if you're having to stick to a 125 for 3 years because of cost, because of accessibility, whatever the reasons might be. Well, what's the likelihood then of you actually motivating yourself to get in that full license? Well, the motivation starts to decline year after year when you start getting more hobbies, when you start doing more things, and it just ends up falling down by the wayside. So something that incentivizes people to do their full license, like, I don't know, maybe instead of having, this is just totally off the top of my head, and it probably wouldn't ever work, but having almost like a class system. So you have like first class, second class, third class, instead of having just pass or fail. So for example, if you have your CBT or you have X number of years riding a particular motorcycle or something like that, then that can count towards your class. So it's not all dependent on one thing or another. But someone with less experience, of course, has got more work to do to get the class. Imagine if third class is a fail, second class is a pass, or first class is a pass, or I don't know. Or maybe first class can be the pass, just the only pass. But maybe someone who's been riding for 5 years or something like that, or 3 years even, can, they start off on a third class already before they've even done the test. So that way they can count that experience in there. But we need to make it easier for people to do, easier for people to understand, and more accessible. Cost isn't something that you can avoid. If it's going to cost £1,000, it's going to cost £1,000 because these people are independent, they're private, they do the training and what have you. There's nothing that can be done about that. But at least making the system easier to understand, I think, is probably the most important thing. And also the time frames as well. Let's lower those time frames a little bit to give people some opportunity to at least expand a little bit into motorcycles that they may want to ride. Because no one wants to be stuck on a 125cc for 5 years, 3 years, however long it is. No one wants to be stuck on a 400 for 5 years. Yeah. So maybe increase the boundaries of where an A2 is, of where a CBT is. Depending on years experience or something like that, So if you've done your CBT and you've been riding for, 2 years, something like that, well, you can automatically go up to a 300 or something. On A2, the same thing applies. You've been riding on A2 for, another year, 2 years, whatever. Then you can, instead of being limited to 44 horsepower, 46 horsepower, however much it is, you can go up to 75 horsepower, 80 horsepower, whatever that parallel twin engines are nowadays, the MT-07 and Ninja 650, bikes like that, whatever their power output is, limit it to that. Because I'm not being funny, but you can really do a lot more with an MT-07 than you can do on a Duke 390. You can have far more fun. I'm not saying the Duke 390 isn't a fun bike. I'm sure it is, and I'd actually really love to have a go on one myself. I've never ever ridden a 300, 400 class motorcycle. Never. I went straight from 125 straight to S650. So I would love to experience one of those bikes to see how they compare in kind of like the pecking order. But I have no doubt that you'll get more fulfillment off of something with a little bit more horsepower, because you feel satisfied at that point. You feel satisfied. You have something that you can actually enjoy for a while. And even though you might be, nipping at the heels of that 1 litre or something like that, it's more incentive. Let's say that between learning how to ride a motorcycle from your first day all the way to a full license, let's leave it at 5 years. Maybe even less than 5 years. 4 years, maybe. That is it, isn't it? 5 years. Isn't it? 17 for a 125.
21 for A license, right? It's 5 years.
It's 4 years.
4 years. I don't know then. Maybe that blows my argument out of the water then, because it's not really making it shorter, is it? It's the same.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But hopefully
thing
they
is,
are
like,
going to bring something in.
I don't want to be that bureaucratic person. That's the thing. I don't want to be that person that's like, no, you can't ride that. It's too big, or something. Because that just again, it just discourages people. Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't. Imagine if you went up to an instructor, and you said to them, and they asked you what motorcycle you want to ride after you get your license, and you say, I want to have a go on a, I don't know, God, I can't think of a bike off the top of my head. An S1000RR, BMW. What if they turn around and say, nah, you can't do that? Do you think that's the right message or the wrong message?
It's just going to be completely discouraging.
But in essence, though, there's a moral argument to be made there, because it could be the right message in the sense that, yes, you're probably unprepared, you're probably not ready to get on a bike like that, but then it sends the wrong message because it's discouraging you from getting on bigger bikes.
Yeah. It's a lose-lose scenario.
That's a really, really tough question to answer. And I'm sure it's a debate that will probably go on forever when it comes to motorcycles. But you know me, guys, the less bureaucracy, the better. And for better or for worse, if there was one test, just like you do your driving license, if there was one test, I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
One test. Say CVT between 16 and 18. When you're 18, full license. Bang. Done. Easy. You've got your 2 to 3 years of experience there on scooters, 125s, whatever, and then you can go straight into doing your full motorcycle license. And look, I mean, I know this is unreasonable, but people who drive cars haven't got this problem. They can be a 17-year-old. They can learn to drive in a Ford bloody Focus or something like that. When they get their full license, they can go all the way to a Lamborghini Aventador. The day after they get their full license, they can buy a Lamborghini Aventador and drive that around legally. Mm-hmm. Like, come on.
Maybe that's why more people are driving than doing their full license.
But that's what I mean, though. But you don't need the motivation, because you have the option to do it. You have the option to buy any car you like. Mm-hmm. Even if you go from a Ford Focus, what do they call it? The 1.5 EcoBoost or something, or 1.2 EcoBoost. I can't remember what engines they use nowadays, right? So you learn to drive in something like that. You pass your license, something like that, and then you're like, right, I really like the Ford Focuses, but I want to get myself a Ford Focus RS. I'm sorry, that's a huge jump in a car for someone who's just passed their license.
Yeah.
And if they can afford it, and God, Ford Focus RSs, depending on the year, they're not that expensive.
They're not.
If you have £10,000, I'm sure you can buy yourself a pretty decent Ford Focus RS.
When I was looking, they're about 12 for a really good one.
But what age, though?
About 17 plate.
Are you kidding me? Because if you're looking at 2010...
It's even cheaper.
I mean, like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
For someone who's a car enthusiast who really wants to get into their cars, that's a massive jump. But it's totally, like...
affordable.
It's totally affordable. Totally affordable for someone.
The only thing they'd have to obviously consider is the insurance and stuff, but that's...
Yes, yeah, okay. Insurance is the big one, isn't it? Because that's the thing that probably restricts people the most in terms of affordability. But still, the option is there. If the option is there, I prefer that to be the case. Mm-hmm. If the option's there. That's just me, guys. That's just me. I know there are stupid people out there. There's always going to be stupid people out there. And I know that this age maturity thing is probably real, but you can imagine you have some outliers that are stupid even when they're 40. Stupid even when they're 50, 60 years old. I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest. I think it all depends on your mental state and your experience. You know, if you have the mental capacity to ride sensibly, then that counts for more than age, as far as I'm concerned. Because you'll get some 17-year-olds that can probably ride more sensibly than a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
That's probably very rare, but...
It would happen, though.
You know what I mean? So there's always going to be these people out there that are just stupid, and doesn't matter how old they are. You know, they have the brain of a 10-year-old for the whole of their lives.
Yeah.
They don't know it, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, guys and girls, very, very interesting discussion, and I think it's right that we do change the whole licensing thing.
There's just a big question mark on how.
Yeah. I think everyone's in agreement that it needs to be changed. It's just how, like the wifey said, how we implement it. But I don't know, guys. Change is very rarely positive, and like Dope Style Gaming was saying earlier, is the motivation for this really to try and encourage more riders to get into the hobby, or is it just modernizing it to accommodate electric motorcycles? Who knows? But yeah, we'll leave today's live show there, guys. And feel free to go ahead and discuss it yourselves in our Discord. If you don't know about that, join us on Patreon. You only need to... it's only £3 a month for the basic Patreon support if you want to join us there, and you get access to our Discord server where you'll be able to discuss things like this with all of our other like-minded little goblins.
As well as us.
Yeah, and us as well.
Not that I've joined it yet, but I will be on it.
Well, we should probably apologise about not being on the Discord server recently. It's just because we've been ill, and you know how it is over Christmas period. Things happen, and just do stuff.
Yeah,
it's opportunity.
It was a busy time for us.
Yeah.
And we had a lot going on we didn't plan to have going on, and like we said, we were ill, and so apologies, we haven't been. It's a new year.
Yeah,
we can make up for it.
We'll get on it. We'll get on it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll look this weekend.
Yes.
Get on it this weekend and say hello to everybody. But yeah, anyway, definitely go and check us out on Patreon. Definitely check us out on Discord, and hopefully together we can answer, I don't know, some of these questions. I mean, the thing is, I know it's easy for us to say, well, you know, we've done our licenses, we don't need to worry about it anymore. Why is this a worry? Well, because we want to keep the hobby alive, and we need the new blood coming through to keep the hobby alive. And so it is important, even if we have long past done our full licenses. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure all of you understand that anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us on the first ever live show of 2023. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. Hope you got up to all sorts of shenanigans. And those of you that are lucky enough to live in a part of the world where you've got decent weather this time of year, I hope you're able to make the most of it and go on some rides for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. A very, very awesome little discussion there. I'm sorry we weren't able to get through all of the chat here. There's quite a lot.
It's amazing.
We could have spent hours going through the chat. So thank you so much for that. Honestly, your guys' input is just amazing. It makes the show what it is. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, thank you ever so much again for watching, everyone. And we'll catch you all in next week's live show. Take care.